that's what that means, is finding your authentic self, is actually like being willing to be honest, being raw, taking feedback, diving deep into your inner child, diving deep into trauma, and your relationships will change. They will not be the same. Putting up boundaries. Welcome to Tune In, discovering your authentic self. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be raw, honest, vulnerable, authentic, transparent, hence the clothes, the hair, not a lot of makeup, congested um, face and head, and feeling a little disappointed because I was supposed to go up to Flagstaff to see my daughter and meet some of her new sorority sisters and her little this weekend, and I was sick, so I did not go. So I'm feeling a little sad about that, but I wanted to come on here and talk about what I want to do with the podcast, what I see happening with the podcast. I think it's now 3 years since I started it. And in the beginning, it was about finding my voice, sharing some of my healing journey. I might not have realized that when I got into it as much as now looking back, that's what it was for me. It was my healing journey, and what worked for me and what didn't. Going forward, I still want it to be about what worked, but obviously I recognize that things that work for me might not work for everybody else. I don't feel like I need to share that voice as much. So that's why I walk this, like, it's hard for me to grow the podcast. It's hard for me to grow the business when for me, it's not about like how fast it grows or how many listeners per se. At this point, it's not about that. So I am going to come on here, whether guests or by myself, when it's like the right time for me. And that might be different each week, each month. And I don't feel, I don't want to feel the pressure of growing it. That's not who I am. That's not why I'm doing this. And it just adds so much pressure to me. Like I have to have an episode every other week. And sometimes I have 5 in the queue and it's no problem. But then other times I don't. So like this time I don't. I have something that I was supposed to do and it got canceled because my microphone didn't work. But now I don't have anything, and I'll probably publish this one because I've been meaning to do this, but it was never the right time. And I just was like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to do it. Sick, braids, workout gear, um, and just riff, just go with it. And just be honest, because that's what I want. I want to be relatable. I don't want to be somebody who's always posed with the right hair, the right makeup, when I feel like my communication skills are on par. It's not always going to be that way, and that's life. So some things that I am toying with right now is actually bringing another host on with me. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to go that direction, but it has to be the right person and somebody that's willing to do it consistently with me. I have somebody in mind, and she is somebody that has done a lot of personal development. She's also in a really hard season of her life right now, and that's kind of how we connected. So I have to see if she has the bandwidth to do it, but I think she would be a great addition. She would be very open and honest, and yeah, I think it would be awesome. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to meet next week and discuss if that's something that she wants to do, and what it looks like for her. And I can explain like what I've gone through and in terms of the podcast to see if she wants to jump on. Um, what else do I have to share? I think right now another thing that I struggle with is I always have so much going on, and that's my own choice. I'm not saying that life is busy. It's the things that I choose. So for February, I chose simplify as my word of the month. And that has been really eye-opening for me to be able to pull away some of the things that I've been holding on to and recognize that some of those things are still, just not moving the needle. And I have to let them go and not getting involved in too many things. And so right now, like with the podcast, there's so many things that I want to share about, but I really feel like I need to narrow it down. And I know I've come on here before and say, oh, there's so much that I can share. There's so much broad. things, but it needs to be more narrow. I need to speak to a smaller audience of people that are actually like wanting to tune into their authenticity. And not everybody wants to. It's a journey. It is not easy, and it is not linear. It'll go up, it'll go down. And so people have to want to do that, and whatever comes with it, and be able to handle whatever comes with it. And it like I said, it is not easy. Um, a lot of times I find it's people that are in midlife and they're just waking up one day, or maybe for months or years, and recognizing that they are not fulfilled. There's not a lot of passion, whether it's in their job or in their relationships, in their marriage, intimate relationship, and they want to figure out how to become more fulfilled. And in doing so, you actually have to discover who you are. And like, if that doesn't make sense to you, then send me a message, because I'd be more than willing to explain that. But it's just peeling away those layers of pain and programming that we have put onto ourselves in order to keep us safe, back usually in childhood. And not to anybody's fault, but just we thought we needed to stay safe in order to protect ourselves. And so we have this big protective layer, I call it our mask, or things like around us, to protect us from like people getting in, or even from our own self. So um that's what that means, is finding your authentic self is actually like being willing to be honest, being raw, taking feedback, diving deep into your inner child, diving deep into trauma, and your relationships will change. They will not be the same. Putting up boundaries, staying true to yourself, and people will fall away and other people will come in that are more in alignment. It might mean taking a look at your marriage, at your relationships, at your job, your career, your finances, and recognizing where you're spending your money, where you're spending your time, how you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with, and asking yourself, like, are these things helping me get to where I want to go? Or is it just fluff? Is it just, I'm doing this because we've been friends for 30 years? So that's what it means to tune into your authentic self. And I do not have all the answers. I'm not preaching that I have all the answers, but I am willing to come on here and share what I have learned, and give you tips and tricks and strategies of what has worked for me. And maybe something will land, something will stick and will land. And if not, maybe it'll help you get to that next path. So that is my intention on here. I really look forward to it. I feel a lot more free being able to state that. And I know it didn't need to. It could have been implicitly stated. I didn't have to say that that's what I'm doing, but I felt like I wanted to. And sometimes I don't feel like showing up on here, and that's okay. And I'm not going to make myself. That's the difference. Is like, some people believe like you just have to keep pushing, you keep pushing. For me, that's not me at all. It's not who I am now. I used to be that person, but now it's like stopping, getting into alignment, and recognizing, do I need to slow down or do I need to push? And right now I am in a slow season. So with the podcast, with my business, I need to slow down. I need to really, really be calm and centered, and be able to decide where my next step is from that. Plus, I'm still pretty new to my position and my job, and I'm learning so many things, and I love it. And I want to keep doing that. But in order to show up as my best self for that, other things have to take a back seat. So I am still going to show up on here. I'm actually more excited than ever of what it's going to reveal. The first 3 years have gone by in like a snap, and it's crazy to believe that we're like nearing 120 episodes, and finally on video. It took me 3 years. Yes, Kevin, it did. But I wasn't ready, and I wasn't going to force myself to be ready, because I did. There was part of me that thought I needed to show up on here like looking my best, but this is what you're going to get sometimes, and I'm okay with that. So stay tuned for more to come. Have a fantastic week.